According to Plato, the philosophers have a special status and go on a different path from everyone else, an accelerated path. The non-philosophers, by contrast, are judged at the end of their first life on earth, and the wicked are sent to the places of correction under the earth and pay their penalty, while the others, the virtuous, made light and raised up into a heavenly place by justice, live in a manner worthy of the life they led in human form. But neither hell nor heaven is permanent. Everything resets at the end of a millennium. Plato wrote, "But in the 1000th year both come to draw lots and choose their second life, each choosing whatever it wishes. Then a human soul may pass into the life of a beast, and a soul which was once human, may pass again from a beast into a man. Humans can return to the life of beasts, and humans that had lived the life of beasts can return to the human state. Some souls, the very lowest, the ones that have never glimpsed the forms, never seen the truth, can never become human. They are stuck as animals forever." Plato wrote, "For the soul which has never seen the truth can never pass into human form." For a human being must understand a general conception formed by collecting into a unity by means of reason the many perceptions of the senses, and this is a recollection of those things which our soul once beheld, when it journeyed with God and, lifting its vision above the things which we now say exist, rose up into real being. And therefore it is just that the mind of the philosopher only has wings, for he is always, so far as he is able, in communion through memory with those things, the communion with which causes God to be divine. Now a man who employs such memories rightly is always being initiated into perfect mysteries, and he alone becomes truly perfect, but since he separates himself from human interests and turns his attention toward the divine, he is rebuked by the vulgar, who consider him mad and do not know that he is inspired. Machiavelli said, "The vulgar crowd always is taken by appearances, and the world consists chiefly of the vulgar." Scientists are the vulgar crowd. They are only interested in appearances. The vulgar scientists constantly rebuke the philosophers and mathematicians. They sneer at the meaning of meaning. They don't do meaning at all. Only the meaningless holds relevance for them. Philosophers and mathematicians can access the intelligible world. Scientists cannot. They can only access the sensible world. It's the only thing they're interested in, the only thing they believe in. Scientists are unable to look at the world and see that it is everywhere penetrated by the intelligible. There is no such thing as a purely sensible world. When you look at the world, you are seeing matter and form, the sensible and the intelligible. Scientists just don't get that. It's beyond their intellectual level. Have you not noticed how many scientists seem staggeringly pedestrian? These are not great thinkers. They are plodders, not geniuses. John Kenneth Galbraith was spot on when he said, "The real accomplishment of modern science and technology consists in taking ordinary men, informing them narrowly and deeply, and then, through appropriate organization, arranging to have their knowledge combined with that of other specialized but equally ordinary men. This dispenses with the need for genius. The resulting performance, though less inspiring, is far more predictable." This is exactly where science stands. All geniuses are absent from its ranks. No genius would ever find the corridors of the science establishment conducive. Science is perfectly satisfied with that outcome. It's a career, not a vocation. Scientists aren't truth seekers. They have no interest in truth. They are autistic types who like obsessively exploring some tiny part of the sensory world. The idea of the non-sensory is anathema to them. Plato, the antithesis of a humdrum scientist, wrote, "For every soul of man has by the law of nature beheld the realities, otherwise it would not have entered into a human being, but it is not easy for all souls to gain from earthly things a recollection of those realities, either for those which had but a brief view of them at that earlier time, or for those which, after falling to earth, were so unfortunate as to be turned toward unrighteousness through some evil communications and to have forgotten the holy sights they once saw. Few then are left which retain an adequate recollection of them, but these, when they see here any likeness of the things of that other world, are stricken with amazement and can no longer control themselves, but they do not understand their condition, because they do not clearly perceive. Scientists have forgotten all about the intelligible domain. They believe the truth, which is to say the mathematical truth, the only genuine truth, is an unreal, man-made abstraction. Hence not true. Plato wrote, "Now in the earthly copies of justice and temperance and the other ideas which are precious to souls there is no light, but only a few, approaching the images through the darkling organs of sense, behold in them the nature of that which they imitate, and these few do this with difficulty. But at that former time they saw beauty shining in brightness, when, with a blessed company, we following in the train of Zeus, and others in that of some other god, they saw the blessed sight and vision and were initiated into that which is rightly called the most blessed of mysteries, which we celebrated in a state of perfection, when we were without experience of the evils which awaited us in the time to come, being permitted as initiates to the sight of perfect and simple and calm and happy apparitions, which we saw in the pure light, being ourselves pure and not entombed in this which we carry about with us and call the body, in which we are imprisoned like an oyster in its shell." Scientists love the darkling organs of sense. They are completely blind to intelligible form. They cannot comprehend that they are literally seeing intelligible form every time they look at anything in the world. They are unable to understand that the intelligible layer of form is real and is addressed intellectually, not via the senses. It is addressed mathematically. Mathematical form is real, not an invented abstraction. Plato said, "Sight is the sharpest of the physical senses, though wisdom is not seen by it." It's an essential point that you cannot see wisdom, hence science cannot make you wise. Scientists are not wise people. They are not intellectuals. They are crude sensing types who loathe philosophy. They are on the spectrum. Their brains, given how much they resist the intelligible order, are seriously defective. Abrahamism is all about the most faithful going to heaven, and the least faithful to hell. Imagine how different the world would be if Abrahamism said the smartest go to heaven and the stupidest go to hell. That would be an inversion of Abrahamism. We must move to a Platonist worldview. Everything would change. Imagine if the world taught that faith, not reason, is the devil's whore. We would be living in a rational paradise now, rather than a world of insane beliefs. Oh no. SM said, "You can't really know reality from pure philosophy." Yes you can. SM said, "I think quantum spirituality can be a thing." No it can't. It's amazing how wrong average people are. Imagine a world where everyone was philosophically literate rather than blabbering on about spirituality. De said, "If the consciousness of mind created life, what created the consciousness?" Firstly, the consciousness of mind didn't create life. Mind is life, and mind is eternal and necessary, meaning that life is eternal and necessary. Secondly, what is it about uncreated that you don't understand? People such as do always ask, "What created X?" They want you to reply, "God did." But of course, if we simply subject these people to their own logic, we automatically ask, "What created your God?" Then they say, "God is uncreated." We then say, "No, it's monadic minds that are uncreated, and God is simply the collection of all these monadic minds, so God is not the God you believe in, but is indeed absolutely uncreated." De said, "If there is no God then there is no evil, who controls and rights the wrong?" Firstly, if God is infinitely good, as he is claimed to be, is infinitely powerful, as he is claimed to be, and created all things, as he is claimed to have done, how can there be evil? So, if your position actually made any logical sense, you would say, if there is a God then there cannot be evil. So, if evil exists and God didn't create it then God has no control over evil and so it definitely isn't God who rights wrongs. Oh dear. In fact, if God is infinitely good, he wouldn't even be able to conceive of evil and nothing at all would strike him as evil. He's therefore the last guy you would go to if you wanted anything done about evil. Give up your beliefs and go and study logic. Remember, only the smart achieve paradise.